Hello and welcome. I think you have already seen my previous video, which is my latest Q robot called MasterP. And today I want to introduce you the story behind it. 6 years ago, I made my first Q robot. Well, it wasn't a fast one. It took about 70 seconds to solve a Q, which is very slow in the perspective of today. 3 years ago, I started another project to make a much faster one. And here it is. This is a quad-arm machine that can solve a Q in a stunning 3 seconds. When I started this project in 2015, the world record was held by QStormer 3, which is 3.253 seconds. However, it was replaced by a new type of robot in early 2016, which used 6-step motor directly drive the cube and did it in 0.9 seconds. Well, no longer after that, a company called Infineon used a bigger motor and refreshed the record to 0.637 seconds. In early this year, 2 MIT grad students thought that they didn't use a motor that big enough, so they used a much bigger and higher voltage motor, and they did it in 385 milliseconds, although they didn't apply for the Guinness World Record. Now, you might get a sense of where is this story going. Every time with a more powerful motor, you could break the record again and again. Actually, I wrote an article about this last year, comparing the difference between 2 types of speed cuber. Let me show you here. In this robot, all 6 phases of the cube are driven independently. Each phase can be rotated in almost any given moment. While in the quad-arm robot, right after one phase is turned, the neighbor arm could not move because the claw has not yet lost. We have to lose the claw so that it could be turned, and that costs time. What's more, the top and bottom face does not have arm to rotate. We have to rotate the whole cube so that the top and bottom face can be turned. Let me explain another way. It's like a 4-wheel drive toy car and a remote control drifting car. The RC drifting car is fun to play because, well, it's more complicated. You can accelerate, brake, drift, do all the stuff anytime you want. On the racetrack, you could try different strategies. You can cut the corners at any different speed or angle or precision just to create the fastest lap. However, a 4-wheel drive toy car couldn't turn by itself and could only go around the track. Well, yes, you could choose a different chassis or bodywork, but nothing will have a great impact on the lap time comparing to replace a more powerful motor or enhance the voltage of the battery. Same principle to the speed cuber. In the end, the race will become the war of the powerful motors. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that there's good or bad in choosing one or the other. What I mean is, the starting line is at the same place. They use the same algorithm to solve the cube. They have basically the same structure. The race between them is just the speed of the motor that can be achieved. And the fun is just getting less and less. But when I dig a little deeper, I found something very interesting and I realized that wasn't entirely true. People in the field would have heard of the God's numbers 20, which means you could solve any cube within 20 moves at most, compared to the CFOP algorithm that normally generates up to 100 moves. That is a tremendous improvement, and people are happy to use it directly. But there's still improvements can be made to shorten the time. If you look carefully, you will realize that the cube moves and the actual mechanical moves are not always the same. Let me explain. If you turn both sides at the same time, you have performed 2 cube moves, but mechanically speaking, it only consumes 1 move time. I call this a pair move. If I can find pair moves in one solution as much as possible, I could save a lot of time. And that is one big reason I want to build this robot. Another major reason is the family is not complete. You see, there are step motors, big servo disc. Something is missing, okay? As you can see, I didn't go for a bigger motor, powerful motor in this robot. Instead, I used something more commonly seen in the motor business. You see, you can compare the size, very small. And, oh man, this is really heavy. And some of it are really small. And these servo are widely used on model cars, model helicopters, in case you are wondering, I did make a small modification to the servo so that it could do the job. Well, maybe a bit more than small. Well, maybe a lot actually. Alright, a normal servo could only turn within a limited angle because the angle is limited by the sensor and the last gear. If I remove the outer shell for you, and you will see why. Let me remove this first. You see a little dot right here, and it is angle limited by these two pumps on the outer shell. And you can see this in the servo business everywhere. And why is that? Because it wants to protect something behind this little thing right here. This is actually a potentiometer. It is a sensor to know where is the servo pointing at. Okay? And let me remove that for you. Alright, you see this little thing actually is a variable resistor, and of course the angle is limited. Alright, so first we need to replace this thing because we don't want any limitation. And second, we need to remove the last gear and something like this. Alright, this could turn endlessly. Now it can turn freely. We need a new control circuit to drive it. At last, and this is important, normal servo could only turn 16 degrees in 120 milliseconds. High-speed servo could barely do 16 degrees in 30 milliseconds. While we need to do 118 degrees under 30 milliseconds, which is quite a challenge. So I redesigned the gearbox inside the servo. Well, finally, a new sensor, a new circuit board, a new gearbox, a new algorithm. The game is on. Although I made a lot of modification on the servo, it's still slower compared to the motor that MIT grad student used before. But it's more fun, isn't it? It shows how important the optimization can be between every component inside a system. Of course, you can surely overtake me with a more powerful motor. However, it will be damn hard to keep up with a small servo like this. As you might notice, I could get this running really fast, but I couldn't even get this quad-arm robot go under 2 seconds. So, in the end, I should remind you that these are two completely different types of robots, and they should really not compete with each other. Well, it's like competing a pan against a microwave oven. Yeah, they both can cook. So what? They are fundamentally different. That's why I named the quad-arm robot DoctorQ, and Q is the capital letter of quad. Also, Q sounds like cube, and it's more complicated in pretty much every way. It deserves a doctor title, while the other one is a lot faster, but it's much simpler, so master it is. Despite the simplicity, it's faster, so we are choosing P, which is the previous letter of Q, to represent that. And together, it just sounds like masterpiece. When I was developing this high-speed machine, the normal debugging method has almost fallen apart because everything happened just too fast. But thanks to Sony and its 1000 frames per second super slow motion camera, which enables me to see every detail much more clearer. You should have this if you're also working on a high-speed project. Alright, that's pretty much for today. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you also found this robot interesting, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you next time.